welcome to a new episode of Sugarfolk Homemade, my podcast where I talk about everything I have been crafting. For anyone who is new here, my name is Michaela, and I'm coming to you from actually a new little location in my home, but from a small town in North Carolina where I live with my husband and my 3 kids. For those of you returning, thank you for coming back. Welcome back. I have very exciting things to show today. Maybe not so much, but I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of exciting things going on in my crafting life lately. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you will probably know that it has taken me a long time to record. I think it's been over a month this time, because unfortunately 3 weeks ago, we lost my father-in-law, my husband's father, after he was battling sickness for a couple weeks. So we've been grieving. It's been a very sad time for our family, but we have our hope in heaven, and we know that we will see him again there. So thank you for everyone who messaged me and prayed for us. Can't thank you enough. So nice to be part of this community. So yeah, it's been a while. I've been able to knit a lot because we were taking lots of drives to a hospital very far away, back and forth. So I had a lot of car knitting time. So we will jump right in. I'm hoping my phone battery will last a decent amount of time this time because I have a lot to talk about. And I have brought a charger over here. That's why I'm sitting on the floor today, so that I can be close to charge if I need to. But I just realized that this plugs into the same port that my microphone plugs into. So we will see what happens. But grab yourself something to drink. It is fall, but I'm having ice water because in North Carolina right now, the mornings start off chilly and fall-y, and then by afternoon it's like hot. I think it's not like hot, but it's like in the high 70s, I think. So, and I'm wearing a sweater because I was cold this morning, so now I'm hot. Okay, so we have a finished object. I try to always wait to film until I have at least one finished object. Doesn't always work out that way, but this time it did. I finished my favorite things shawl. So this is a free pattern on Ravelry by Peg Britt. As always, I will link all of the patterns and everything I talk about below. I have not blocked this yet, and there's still a few ends that I wove in, not sure, that I weaved in that I still need to cut after I block it. But yeah, this was what, it's got some creases where I folded it. This is what I chose to make for a make-along. It's called Across the Pond Shawl Cow, hosted by Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit and Fernanda from Little Monkeys and Me. Definitely check those 2 ladies out. They are awesome. And I did not actually finish in time for the deadline of the cow, but I finished maybe 3 days after. And what kept me from actually like trying really hard to finish it on time is that I had in my mind that I was going to make like this giant blanket type shawl that I would wear like on my back, because this is asymmetrical, so it's like it's got a really long end and then the big end, and I was thinking that the only way that would kind of work is like a big blanket shawl. But I got to where I was, I don't know, I maybe had like 1 section repeat left, and I thought, let me just try it on and see what I can do with it. And I did, and I thought, this is working right now, so I'll just finish this last repeat and then add the ribbing, and then I'll be done. So it turned out really nice. This yarn is not prepared, as always. It's from Hobby Lobby. It's called Sugar Wheel, I believe. It's cotton, 100% cotton, and the color was Iron Fog. I don't remember like the brand name. Maybe it was Yarn Bee or something like that. I don't know. But it is very, very soft. Like, this is such a squishy, it's so soft. And this is probably going to cover up my mic, but I will show you guys how I intend to wear it. So, let me think for a second. Which side goes? Okay, so I kind of put the short end over here and wrap it around. There's the tail, and then the other end, kind of like to tuck it there. And oh, my little ends are sticking out. And then you have like a it's a little bit crooked, but I kind of like that look. So yeah, that is my favorite things shawl. Oh, and by the way, I am wearing my Weekender light that I showed in my last episode. So I'll go ahead and show you guys all of it. This is what it looks like. Pretty accurate color representation. I've worn it so many times since I finished it. I wear it anytime that I can, basically. Sorry, there's a wasp flying around the window and it's caught my eye. So the only thing I would change about this, now that I've been wearing it, is I don't necessarily love how it goes in for the ribbing. I would have liked it to be more of like a straight fit like that. And I should have known that it was going to do that, because the ribbing is a size down from the rest of the sweater. And I know that's what that does, but I just didn't think that far. And it looked good in the pictures, and I don't think it looks bad. But I think I would have, because it's kind of a baggier fit on me, I think I would have liked for it to be straight down. But no matter, I still love it. I did actually, this was by accident, but the sleeves are a little bit short. But I think I like it that way, because things with long sleeves, I find I wash a lot of dishes and I'm getting my hands dirty a lot because I like to bake and I have toddlers, and there's just a lot going on in this house all the time, and my sleeves are always in the way, and I'm either having to like roll them up or just push them up, but then they'll fall down. So this is actually a really good length for me. You can see my elbow has made a little spot. But yeah, it'll pull all the way down to my wrist, but it kind of just like naturally goes up a little bit. But I really, really like this sweater. This is only the second sweater I ever made. Second? Yeah, this was the second sweater I ever cast on. And this is by Andrea Mowry, and the way she writes her patterns, it was so clear. I had no problems at all. And I mean, you can see that it's not like your regular, you know, raglan sweater. It's a little crooked right there. Whoops. Oh, that's because of my microphone cord. Okay. So yeah, this is my Weekender light. I've talked enough about this in every episode, basically. So if you want the details, you can go back and look, or everything is always on my Ravelry project page as well. Okay, so that was my only finished object, was the shawl, and then this. And I have some water. Okay, I have, we'll do this one first, in my whips. I do have half of a finished object, and exciting. Okay, I gotta get off my knees. Oh, I can't sit like that anymore. Okay, just my pants. So, I, for some random reason, decided to check my Ravelry messages a few weeks ago, which I never do, so please don't ever message me on there because it doesn't notify you, so I never know. But anyways, the sweetest lady named Susan had reached out to me to send me a little project bag, and when people just like randomly reach out to me and ask if they can send me things, it just like melts my heart. So for everyone who does that or has done that for me, or people who do it for other people, it's such a kind, generous gesture. And on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you. So anyways, she was watching one of my podcasts and she saw that I loved patchwork, and guess what? She makes patchwork bags. So she sent me this adorable little bag. It has a little leather tag on there that says handmade. And her name is Susan. I'm going to link, she has a YouTube and an Instagram. I'll link them below for you. And then on the inside, on the fabric, it says handmade by Susan with a little picture of her. So cute. And this is the perfect sock bag. Like the perfect size. And it stands up and I just love it. So anyways, on to socks. I can hear my children playing instead of napping. I'm about to have to go cause a scene. I'm just kidding. I might have to let them come out here and be part of the show. So, anyways, I was going to get a sock blocker out, but I can't really reach it behind this door. Half a finished object, as in one sock. I finally finished this one sock. This one sock has been on my needles for too long. I don't know how long, but too long. So this pair of socks is, I've done 1x1 ribbing at the top. That's what I like to do. And then self-striping Regia 4-ply in the colorway Cardamom. And then I just did a contrasting heel flap with my yarn from Uprooted Farm and Fiber. And I just love them. I love these colors, and this purple went perfect with these self-striping yarn. And I kind of wanted to do this on the toe as well, but there's a lot of ends. I hate weaving in ends. If there's a way around it and you know about it, let me know. But yeah, after seeing that there was like 8 ends just from the heel flap, I thought, I'm not gonna change colors again. Once is good, and I actually really like how it looks with just the heel. These have not been blocked. As most people, don't block socks because they block when you wear them. So I've got one finished, and then on my second one, I just started the decreases after my heel flap. Ta-da! So this one is coming along much quicker because now I'm like, let's get these socks done because I have other things that I want to do. I always knit my socks on 2.5 millimeters, and I use a 64 stitch cast on for me, and they're a little tight. I am a tight knitter when it comes to socks, but that's okay. I would prefer them to be tight than to be loose. And I always use an Eye of Partridge heel. It's my favorite. I just love the way it looks. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like a waffle stitch almost. I like that a lot. And one thing that is really nice about using a contrast color for the heel that I've noticed is that when you get those little holes on the gussets, you can't really see very well. There's my finger poking through. You can almost close that hole with the 2 ends. You probably can't tell what I'm talking about. You can kind of like tighten them together and it closes the hole. And then you weave them in, of course, and the hole's gone. And I actually heard Fernanda, I was watching her yesterday from Little Monkeys and Me, and she was talking about how to get rid of the holes and how she knits she picks up an extra stitch in between the heel flap and the top of the foot, which I always tell myself I'm going to do so that I don't have holes. And then I don't do it because then I'm like, well, then I'm going to forget and I'm going to accidentally decrease too many times. And even though it's not a big deal, it'd be 2 extra stitches. I don't know. I guess I can't be bothered. can hear my neighbors. Okay. Sorry for the moment of silence. Our neighbors are so loud. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about that, but they're loud. And it's kind of annoying. That's all. Okay, so that is my socks in my new little bag. I really hope this is recording. Okay, it is. And next whip, is my Jupiter crop by Caitlin Hunter. And this has also been a long time coming. I started this when I started, around the same time I started my Weekender Light. And it was in hibernation for a long time. And it's very close to being finished. So let's take a peek. And I'm keeping this just in a little wicker basket. My kids, they know, I don't tell them that I'm filming, but it's like they know when I'm going to film, and they don't nap. They nap every other day. Every other day. Unless I'm filming. They just know. They can sense it. But whatever. They're contained in their rooms. If they're playing, that's fine. Okay, so what's the back? Okay. This is what I've got so far. So I have almost finished the body. I'm just doing the ribbing at the bottom. However, there is 3 inches of ribbing at the bottom, so it's gonna take me a few days. Ribbing really makes my arms hurt and my shoulders hurt because, you know, you have to, it's 1x1 ribbing, so you're having to move the arm back and forth after every stitch, and there's just a lot of arm movements. So it makes my arms tired. So I can't like sit and do all the ribbing at one time. I have to break it up. So I have tried this on a couple times, and I am crossing my fingers that it blocks out. It fits, but it's a little uncomfortable, and it's not my favorite fit at the moment, so I'm hoping it blocks out better. It is supposed to be a short, like right at the waist length, because I personally am going to layer it over dresses and such. So the length is fine, because it is, you can't really see, but it's a good length. But where I'm having trouble is up here in the yoke. It's supposed to be kind of like rounded, and mine just doesn't do that. So when I put it on, it like wants to sit up high on my neck, and so I have to like pull it down, and it does go, like it has the give in it to go, but it won't stay because it hasn't been blocked. So I'm hoping that when I block it, I can pull it how I want it, and then it'll dry and it'll be good to go. And so after I finish the ribbing, I've just got to pick up on the sleeves, and there's a few more rows of color work and then ribbing on the sleeves. They're being so loud. But the sleeves won't take long because there's only, you know, much less stitches than on the body. So I have knit this using Cascade 220 Superwash Sport. Actually, I think only one of the colors was Superwash and the rest are not, I believe. But it is very, very warm. The few times I've tried it on, even though it's like short sleeve, I'm like immediately toasty. So this will be good to have this winter. And yeah, I'm just so ready to have this off the needles. I like the process of color work because it's so interesting to see it unfold. Like, and it just blows my mind. Like, how stinking pretty is that? I love it. But it takes me a long time because I have to really pay attention to color work or I'll mess up. And so I can only do this like when the kids are napping. And sometimes I have a lot of other things to do, so I just don't get to it that often, which is why it's taken so long. But all in all, I do like color work, and I would like to knit another one. I am weary though of, I would love to knit a sweater that just has color work in the yoke, but I'm weary of my tension changing between stockinette and color work, because you can see here it starts off stockinette and then goes to color work, and it's kind of hard to tell in the front, maybe in the back you can tell better. There's a little bit of a tension switch. It kind of bobbles or bubbles up. I think it'll block out, so we'll see. And maybe I'll tackle a yoked colorwork sweater one day. We shall see. And I have a little teapot or a teacup stitch marker on here. Super cute. Okay, I'm gonna stick this back in my basket. And move on to my next whip, which is also, oh, wait just a second. By the way, on this Jupiter crop, I went up a needle size in the ribbing and the body, and I went up 2 sizes from my normal size, because my gauge swatch, I only did a small one, but my knitting was so tight, and I didn't knit a new one with the new side or with the new needles, but I think it worked out okay. But I don't know how one can knit as loose as Caitlin Hunter knits. I don't understand it, but she makes beautiful patterns, so I'll make it work. Anyways, going on to my next whip, and this is a new cast on. You have not seen it before, or maybe, actually I might have shown it last time. I think I may have just casted it on, but it is being held in my Woolly Tangle project bag. And this is the sweater that I'm making for my husband for Christmas, hopefully. I told him not to get his hopes up though, because you know me and it might take a long time. This is the So Basic sweater by Maxim CYR. I will not be doing the pocket on it. My husband doesn't love that look, so we're just doing the sweater. And actually, if you will excuse me, I gotta go tell these boys to be quiet. But first I gotta unhook myself. They're literally, the boys are just screaming at each other. Be right back. I don't know how much good that did, but we'll see. Okay, let me get this bad boy hooked back up. Sorry for the noises. Okay. I don't think I did that right. Okay, what is going on? I can feel the cord. Okay. Thank you for waiting. Back to the sweater. Okay, so this is using Sirdar Country Classic 4-ply yarn, fingering weight, and I am still working on, let me stretch it out a little bit so you can see. This stinking cord. Okay. So I have done the collar and I have done the short rows in the back, and I am working on the body. I still have about 15 rows or so before I split for the sleeves, but you can see it's got some nice sleeve detail. This yarn is amazing. I love it. I want to knit with nothing else. It is a, let's see. It's 50% wool, 50% acrylic, and I did that on purpose because my husband likes wool, but he can't handle like the scratchiness of it. I can't either, honestly, not yet anyways. And I want this to hold up for a long time, like in the wash. So acrylic will give it that nice hardiness, and it still feels like wool, so it still has that nice feel to it. But yeah, it's actually coming along much quicker than I thought it would, because I enjoy knitting on it so much. I grab it all the time. I will say I screwed up big time on the collar. So what I did, I don't know if this is going to give away too much. I don't think so. So you're supposed to cast on with waste yarn, and then you do a specific kind of ribbing that I am not going to tell you because it's a paid for pattern. And then you cut the waste yarn and pull out those setup rows. I didn't understand what it meant by waste yarn. Like, I didn't understand why, so I just started knitting with the same yarn. And then it said to cut the waste yarn, and I thought, I don't know where that is. So I just watched a video of what that even entailed, and then I thought, okay, I think I can find I think I can find what I need to pull out. So I cut some pieces and I pulled it out until it's a really cool technique to where you get almost like a tubular, it's just a really neat looking edge. But I accidentally cut too much right here on the back. So it was starting to unravel, so I just kind of tied it in a little knot. And I kept on knitting because I couldn't be bothered to undo it and fix it because it was a lot and I don't like ribbing. But I think what I can do is I'm going to weave these little ends straight through these like ridges of the rib, and then get some thread and a needle and like sew it in there so that it's there for good, so that it doesn't unravel. And if it ever does come undone, I can just pick up the stitches, like I can undo it and pick up the stitches and re-knit the collar backwards. It would be kind of hard, but I think I could do it. So yeah, I did screw that up, but I think it's fine. And I try not to think about it because it stresses me out, because I'm like, what if I finish this whole sweater and then it's all screwed up because I didn't do this right? But it'll be fine. I'll sew it in. I'll figure out what to do when I will cross that bridge when I get there. Is anyone else like that bad about not wanting to go back and fix things? Because I'm really bad about it. If it's like something in stockinette, then I will. If it's a big thing, like what could you really mess up that bad in stockinette? But when it's something that like I have to undo ribbing or like something complicated, like the setup rows for that were kind of confusing. I'm just like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to exert that much brain power again. So I'll make it work somehow. It'll be just fine. So I did do a little bit of a gauge swatch for this sweater because it's for my husband, and I did not want to spend 6 months making something and then it just not fit at all. So I did a little bit of one, and then I actually, for once in my life, knit looser than the pattern swatch. So I am making the size. My husband liked the fit of the measurements of the extra large. I got my tape measure out and showed him what those measurements would be like on him, and that's what he liked. So I'm knitting the size large to get the extra large. And so far it's working out. I tried this on him, pulled it over his head and put it over his shoulders, and it's about here, which seems pretty accurate. So yeah, maybe it'll be done by Christmas. Who can say? It might be next Christmas. I just don't know. Although my knitting mojo is kind of in full swing right now. I feel like I'm knitting like a mad woman. I actually was knitting so much recently that I had to take a break because my entire forearm, in both arms randomly actually, both forearms and my elbows were hurting so bad. Like, it almost felt like when someone says they're like cold to their bones. That's what it felt like. It felt like my bones were freezing, like they were cramping up. It was such a weird feeling, and it got me like worried almost. I was like, is there something wrong? But I took a break from knitting and it went away. I can feel it starting to like flare up if I'm knitting too much, but I try to be mindful of it. The things we do for our craft, you know, it's fine. It's fine. So that is my sweater for my husband. Next I have some acquisitions. Yes, I do. And then I will show you guys a couple things from past making. So my husband and I went on a lovely little tea date a few weeks ago. While my husband's dad was in the hospital, we were kind of trying to just like keep our minds busy and stay active and not just sit home and dwell on the what ifs at that point. So we went out and we were trying to have a good time, and we stopped at this little store called Isadora Popper. They have an Instagram, very neat little store, and they had a bunch of yarn, and so of course I went straight to the yarn, and it's all like really, really nice yarn. And so as much as I would have loved to have gotten like a sweater's quantity of something, it just was not in the budget. So, but I couldn't leave without something, of course. So I found the little minis, and of course I got a little mini. This is fingering weight. It is 70% wool, 20% alpaca, and 10% nylon from Amble. Wandering Souls, thefibercompany.com. Yeah, and I got this color specifically because if you remember last episode, I showed you guys this yarn that I got. This is the West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply in the colorway Robin, and there are some of this color inside of this. So my plan is to use this as a contrast heel for some Christmassy socks. It just goes perfect, and I don't know, okay, so this is only 25 grams. I'm not sure how much it takes to do a heel versus like the cuff, heel, and toe. I need to figure that out because I kind of want to have enough to do these, maybe just the heel, so that I'll have enough to also do the heel on my husband's socks, which are also from West Yorkshire Spinners, and they have this color in it as well. So it would pair nicely with those too. So if you know roughly how much yarn it takes to do a heel and then a cuff, heel, and toe, let me know in the comments. I never measure things out, and I never really keep track of like how much it takes to do socks or anything like that. I'm just not good about that. So if you are, please let me know so that I know how much of this to use if I want to use it for both of us. So yeah, I got that. It's so soft and it smells good. And I just love this color. I would love a sweater in this color. Anyways, moving on. Then the other day we had to go out of town to set up my husband's wisdom teeth surgery appointment, which should be so fun. And they have a craft store there. We do not have like the big chain craft stores where I live. There's a few local yarn shops, but as far as like cheap big box yarn, you can't get it except for online. But where we were out of town, and they had a craft store. There was a Michael's there, so I went in, of course, and I found this acrylic tweed. And I am no stranger to acrylic yarn. I don't mind acrylic yarn. I wouldn't want to use it for like socks or anything like that because it makes you kind of sweaty. But my plan for these, I got 5 balls. They are 252 yards per skein, and I got 5. I have no idea if that's like a sweater's quantity or what. I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to buying yarn. But anyways, I got 5 skeins, and I was like, that should be enough for a sweater. And then I realized, nah, I want to make a cardigan. So I think I'm going to use these to make the Be Thankful cardigan. I've had it on my queue for a long time. And I think that this acrylic will do good with that, because a cardigan, if it's making you a little sweaty because it's made of acrylic and plastic, then just take it off, right? Right. So these are only like $2. So yeah, I'm excited. I love tweed. I love the look of tweed. And yeah, for like $10 to make a cardigan, it'll probably be less than that actually, because I don't think I need that much for the cardigan. I'm very excited about it. And acrylic just gets so soft when you wash it. So soft. I know it's plastic, and I know there are better options, but for this broke girl, acrylic is just fine. Okay, that's all of my acquisitions. Did I tell you guys what brand this was? Craft Smart Value Tweed. What a value it is. Oh, this also says it's a medium weight, and I'm thinking it's like a worsted or an Aran weight. I think it'll work just fine for the Be Thankful cardigan, because I think that calls for Aran weight. I could be wrong. I will do a gauge swatch though, because, and when I say gauge swatch, I mean like I do a tiny little piece just to get an idea. And I know so many other knitters are like that, because time is precious, and I don't want to spend 4 days working on swatches figuring out the exact size. I'll just make it work somehow. And sometimes it doesn't work. Like my Jupiter crop, if it just really doesn't work, it'll go to my daughter Rosie, and that's fine. I'm just knitting because it's fun to knit, and if I can wear the outcome, that's great. If not, it'll be fine. Okay, so I need some water. I meant to tell you guys, I mentioned a few episodes ago how I keep my yarn in an old gun cabinet. You know what, let me check my battery. Okay, we're good. Sorry for my finger in your face. How I keep my yarn in an old gun cabinet, and that is actually this cabinet right here. The color looks kind of weird, everything's kind of washed out. But yeah, my dad built that gun cabinet when he was in high school, and he gave it to me a while back, and it was in our basement. And then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna bring this upstairs and spruce it up. It had like red velvet on the inside, and it was really old and kind of gross. So I cut all that out, and I put like some fake wood wallpaper on the back, and then my husband put a couple of shelves, like 3 shelves in there, and then I painted it. It looks like salmon right here, but it's more of like it's definitely a pink, but it's like a little bit of an orangey pink. It's kind of hard to explain. Maybe I'll post a picture of it one day that you can get a good idea. But yeah, it's great for holding all my yarn, and I put my project bags in there too, because since it was a gun cabinet, it locks, and I can keep my kids out of my stuff. It also has 2 big cabinets on the bottom where I keep like extra stuff that I don't really use right now. But it's nice because it has the glass windows up here, so I can see all of the yarn. It's not just all like piled in a box like it was before, and it's also just cute. So yeah, that's that. That was a side note. Now I'm going to talk about some past makes, and this is so exciting. So a few years ago, I was really big into crochet, and I still like crocheting, but I found on Pinterest this like crochet along before I even knew what those were, and it was a make along where everyone was making the same blanket, and the author would, or the designer, she would post a certain section and she'd do it with you, and then you'd have to wait about a week, and then there was the next section, and so on and so forth. And it turned out to be a beautiful mixed medium type blanket. So there's like all kinds of different stitches. It's really a great project for like for a crocheter who wants to learn different techniques and different stitches, things like that, because there's literally like everything in this blanket. Maybe not like techniques as far as like increases and decreases. Well, actually, yeah, I don't know. I kind of forget. It's been a long time. But I'll just show you, and I'm gonna have to stand up because this thing is massive. So let me just show you. And if you're wondering, the boys are still not asleep. I can still hear them in there chattering. And it's fine, it's fine. Okay. So, let me make sure I got the right side. All right. Okay. So there's little baubles along the top if you can't see those. It is humongous, and this is my most favorite thing I've ever made, I would say, because it's so crazy and wild, and I just love it. So I had put little, she's washed it a couple times, so this is all acrylic yarn, like all stash Walmart yarn that I had, that I just would pull a random color and go for the next section and then get another color. So it's holding up pretty good though. She says she washes it all the time because she has cats, and she washes it to get the cat hair off. And amazingly enough, they haven't torn it to shreds, which is awesome. So I got some bobble edging around, and then you've got everything from like there's some double crochets here, lots of stripes. You got the Catherine's wheel stitch, you got some granny stripes, baubles, chevrons. These are called something, I forget. More granny stripes, more Catherine's wheel. I love this section right here with the 2 Catherine's wheel. Baubles. I mean, this thing just goes on and on and on. It smells so good. My mom's house always smells like cookies. She's one of those people that likes the like really, really sweet candles, like sugar cookie and things like that. I like them too. My husband doesn't, so I don't burn them at our house, but I love going to her house because it always smells like yummy foods. So yeah, oh my gosh, I just love this blanket so much. Sometimes I'm a little jealous that I gave it to my mom, but she loves it just as much as I do, so it's really fine. And this is what I mean when I say acrylic yarn gets so soft. When I first gave this to her, it was so stiff, and I don't know if you've worked with acrylic yarn, but sometimes the thick acrylic yarns, they just, if you don't put them on a big enough needle, and I did not change needle sizes throughout this. There's all different kinds of weights of yarn and everything. I just used the same needle. So some spots would get super like coarse and just thick and stiff. And now that she's washed it a few times, this thing is so soft and it's so drapey. This is the perfect couch blanket. Like, gosh, I kind of want this to be, I'm spilling stuff. I kind of want this to be like a big shawl. I just love it. I need to make another blanket like this because it honestly didn't take that long, and because I was following different sections, I would just like pace myself with different sections, and you get to change colors, and you're changing what you're doing so often that it does not get boring. So yeah, such a beautiful blanket. And the baubles were not part of the pattern. It just had a regular edging around it. But I just thought it added a little element of fun to it. The little baubles. I think they're so cute. I have told her since I've got it for a few days until I give it back to her, I will go through and trim some pieces where the ends have kind of snuck out. Like right here. It just needs to be kind of trimmed up a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to get some good use out of this blanket until I give it back to my mom in a few days. Or maybe I'll just keep it. Nah, I'm just kidding. Okay, back off my knees. The next little thing that I have made in the past is a little pumpkin. I have a few of these actually. They are just, I put them up as decoration throughout the house, but I brought one down to show you. It's just a little crocheted pumpkin, stuffed with some old pillow cotton, I believe, and a little cinnamon stick as the stem. Last fall, I was really wanting some little pumpkins to put throughout the house, but I didn't really want to spend money on them, and I had white yarn, and I had cinnamon sticks, so I said I'll just make some pumpkins. And I cannot tell you if I followed a pattern. I don't think I did, because I made this horizontally, so I think I just crocheted single crochets. They are single crochets, in lines, in rows, but I switched like doing it through the back loop and the front loop so that there would be like a rib almost. You can kind of tell. And then I just like put a piece of yarn through the sides of the piece, and well, first I sewed it together on one side, and then I cinched in the bottom and the top. I think it's been a year, so I could be wrong. This might have actually been 2 years ago. I don't remember. Gosh, I've almost been doing this podcast for a year, I think, which is insane to me. Maybe not. That might be totally wrong. I might be lying, but it feels like it's been a long time. Anyways, super cute little pumpkin. Doesn't smell like cinnamon anymore because it's old, but they make really cute little house decorations. And these took me like, I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour. Not long at all. So yeah, I think that's all I have to show you guys today. I have this feeling that there was something that I wanted to share with you guys, but I can't think of what it was. Yeah, it's escaping me. I'm probably going to remember as soon as I like go to edit this, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now, and it's going to be too late. But anyways, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and you have not subscribed yet, please do. And thank you all for all of your lovely comments all the time. Everyone is so sweet. And thank you for being here. Let me know below what you are working on. And if you follow me on Instagram, you can send me a picture of what you're working on. I love to see what other people are working on and see what patterns you're using. I don't get on Ravelry very often to like browse patterns. So seeing what other people are making through Instagram and stuff like that broadens my horizons so that I can add things to my favorites. Whoops, sorry. So yeah, let me know what you're working on, and thank you guys for watching. I feel like I'm rambling. Gosh, I really feel like there was something I was gonna say. Oh well. Thank you guys again for watching. Please subscribe, and until next time, I love you all.